Hello everybody, my name's Clayton Hennin and I am the third generation Hennin working here at Shelter Institute. I do everything from straightening nails to cleaning the toilets in the store to helping out on the job site, and it's a blast working here. So I went to school in Florida to Eckerd College in St. Petersburg, and I actually got an international business degree, and while I was in college I studied in Shanghai at East China Normal University is the translation. I was sure that I would graduate college and I would go become a business executive in China. What actually ended up happening was I got out of college, I took a job as a marketing consultant for a local news agency, and I worked in a cubicle. It was great, nothing against them, but I worked in a cubicle every single day, didn't get outside really ever, and working at Shelter just continued to look better and better, and I so envied the guys working here, and I also remember looking back and being so happy on the job site as a child. But the rule at Shelter Institute for a family member is that you have to get a promotion at a different company before you're allowed to come work at Shelter, so that it's not just a free handout job. So I got a promotion at this news company, and I promptly handed in my 2 weeks, and then I drove to Shelter and I asked my grandfather Pat if I could have a job, and he interviewed me, and it was a terrifying process, but I got the job, I think, by the skin on my teeth, and that's how I ended up here at Shelter. And I've been here now for almost 2 years, and it's just so fun mixing both the marketing side of I get to film some here, and also the side where I get to teach and I get to go out and build these houses and see people's dreams come true with their dream home. So it's really a dream job. From a young age, my brothers and my cousins, we've all been involved with the business, whether it's helping set up for Tulipalooza, our yearly winter sale, or whether it's going to job sites to help out. And when my brothers and I were young, my dad used to rotate, I have two brothers, my dad used to rotate taking us to the job site to build, which was really fun because we got to spend a week with our dad traveling to a job site and building a house, but it was also fun because we got to skip school for the week and go to the job site, sometimes even learning more on the job site than we would have in school that week. So there were definitely lots of perks to growing up in a timber framing family. One of the first times that I can remember really helping with a build was on an island called Saba, where my grandfather had purchased a house, and then a week later a hurricane came through and completely destroyed it. So we were starting from the slab up, and I went down with my grandfather Pat and my dad Gaius, and we started building this timber frame cottage, and my dad was a complete spaz about me getting a sunburn. So much of it I spent indoors at the neighbor's house watching Cartoon Network and drinking iced tea. But when he would let me out of the house to build, I vividly remember putting the first peg in the first bent and then helping with the come along. I think there's a photo out there of me lifting myself up with the come along as a young child. Now things are definitely a little different on the job site. I'm expected to pull my weight these days, so it's not so much Cartoon Network and iced tea. I'm out there with the crew, and what's really nice about working with this crew that we've built at Shelter is everything is extremely systematic. So we get to the job site and it almost feels like no one needs to speak. We just pull up and start unloading, and we understand plan beforehand. So we understand which bents are going up first and the essential parts of the job site that need to be done to start the build. And it just makes the job feel extremely smooth, and it makes you feel like you're good at your job when you can do it sort of without even needing to ask, hey, what should I do? And I think that's just come with, honestly, the crew showing me how it's done since I've started working here. Yes, I'm extremely happy that I joined the business, and I'm not just saying that because my father and boss is behind the camera. I'm extremely happy because, like I said, there's no better feeling than waking up in the morning and truly not knowing what sort of adventures lie ahead of you, and that's really possible here and something that makes work extremely exciting. So I remember my first job site. It was middle of November, freezing cold, extremely windy. I obviously didn't know much about what to do because it was my first job site, and I didn't want to step on anybody's feet, and I didn't want to get in the way or anything like that. And It was a huge learning experience because I remember getting to the end of that and having felt like I had climbed a mountain and I could finally relax, and then realizing that we're doing the same thing next week, or we're doing the same thing 2 weeks from now and whatnot, and then slowly that turning from sort of the freezing cold job site that can be treacherous at some times to dying to get to the job site and remembering how it felt sitting in a cubicle and loving even the harshest job sites, because great company while you're out there, and also you're just outside, which is great. When I first came into the business, this is a 40-plus-year-old business that is well-oiled and been operating for a long time. So I think the number one thing I did was just not say anything for a while and just put my head down and do the work and learn from everybody around me, whether it was in the store, in the shop, or on the job site. So one idea that I would say I have brought to Shelter Institute is that I did think of the 3-week class that we have coming up in 2023, which is a combination of the purely post and beam and the design build, and it includes all the tools and the reading material. So it's a great opportunity for anybody at any skill level to come to Shelter Institute and get a full package course where they can walk away feeling confident and competent to build their own home. I came up with it, even though all the course material and everything was predetermined and had been done time and time again, but I took 2 things that they created and put them together, and there you go. So that's Clayton's. That's something that Clayton brought to Shelter Institute, other than his dashing good looks and excellent sense of humor. Working with family is usually like a television show, the dramatics of it all. It's very fun because you can be completely honest, unlike you might be with a boss at some other job. You can tell them the truth about why you're not coming in or anything like that. And it's also great because you can, at the end of the day, go grab a couple drinks with your family members and talk about everything and spitball ideas. Like some of the best ideas I feel like for Shelter Institute come at family dinners when we all have hours to sit around and just talk. And I think that doesn't happen as often with other businesses. So it's really a huge perk to a family business, is that you get sort of free time to bounce ideas off each other and come up with great new plans like these videos. Working for your dad is very fun because it's fun to watch him become your employee slowly over time. So when you start, you're his, and then slowly over time, as you gain confidence and learn how the business runs, and you are kind of a young Machiavelli in the business, you're slowly have these long schemes going where he is actually becoming your employee without even realizing it. So working for my dad is great. I love it. And I think he loves working for me as well. You should do like a thing where you come in and you're like, so Clayton, just a short little. Yeah. Hello.
How's my boss doing? Clayton has come to many job sites with me prior to starting his career at Shelter. And there's one job site in particular that I remember in upstate New York where we were building a small garage for a past customer. And it was hot. We were there. Clayton was probably,
I have no idea, young.
7 or 8.
Yeah.
Young kid. And there was the person that we were building for had a friend come visit, and that friend had a daughter. And that was about the time that Clayton disappeared from the job site. And we discovered him swimming in the pool with the daughter of this friend. It's very funny.
Yes.
Little disappearance.
It's important to take pool breaks throughout the day when you're building in hot weather. So I was just doing that.
Yes. On the way home from that job site, we got pulled into a weigh station, a temporarily set up weigh station in New York, and I could not find my medical card. So they had me pull around back, park the truck, and they said, you got to, come into the office. And so we got around back, parked the truck, and I brought cute little 7-year-old Clayton in, and we were just standing in this very busy office where, people were in all kinds of trouble. And the 2 officers behind the desk sort of looked at me, they looked at Clayton, they spoke quietly to each other, and then they said, all right, never mind, you can go.
Yes. So always bring your kid on the road with you when you're doing these there's always some perks. And this is all before I was even an employee, so imagine the stuff I pull off now. I talked about Sabo a little bit and how you were a spaz about not letting me go in the sun, so I spent a lot of time at the neighbor's house.
Yes, did you?
I didn't talk about you. He dropped me, so when we were on Saba building,
knew this was gonna come.
one night of the trip.
You dropped the key one time on his head.
One night of the neighbor's house, which we were staying at while we were building our cottage, had a hot tub and slippery stairs leading to and from it. And I was in the hot tub with my dad, and I was 16, and he was carrying me down the stairs. No, I'm just kidding. I was like 7 years old, 6 or 7 years old, and he was carrying me down the stairs after being in the hot tub and slipped. And naturally, in his defense, he tried to cushion his blow by falling on me on the steps. And it was my dad, my grandfather, and myself there, and they were both freaking out. I remember watching them run around like a couple of chickens with their head cut off. They have flashlights trying to see if I had a concussion, seeing if my pupils were dilating, and what they ended up doing was temporarily blinding me for the night with the flashlights. I remember
it's much too bad.
I remember trying to watch TV and relax, and I couldn't even see the TV. My vision was so blurry from either the fall or the flashlight, one of the two. And
you need to make sure that that Clayton's mom doesn't see this video.
And my dad kept telling me, are you enjoying the movie? Are you enjoying the movie? And I kept saying, I cannot see the screen. I have no idea what I'm even watching. But as a good child, I comforted him and told him I was probably fine. And I woke up the next morning and my vision had returned to normal. So then he immediately put me to work at 6 a.m. upon hearing my vision had returned to normal. So.
Fortunately, because Clayton cushioned my fall, I was not injured as well, and I was able to go to work.
Which would have been a disaster had he had been injured on that job site.
Clayton's a very quick study. Don't have to tell him things more than like 50 times. And he's
just pretty good.
Clayton, in all seriousness, very goal-oriented. So when you give him a job, he's all about getting that task completed. So it's actually very pleasant.
He carries me up and down hot tub stairs far less these days, which is good for both of our health, I think. The future for Shelter Institute really excites me because when Shelter started, a lot of our customers were people who were kind of hippies in the city and looking to take life into their own hands and build their own homes in the countryside or wherever. And I think really through COVID, people have started to value space and taking life into your own hands and taking control of your life and maybe getting out of the city, getting into the countryside and doing something truly on your own with your hands. So I think that it's another kind of awakening in America of people realizing that you can be in control of your life, and a big part of that is building your own home, owning your own home. And I think that home ownership is also looked at as nearly impossible for young people these days, but when you break it down, the expenses and how much money you can save when you're willing to use your own hands and your own mind to build your house, it becomes extremely feasible, and not only feasible, but a massive accomplishment in your life that you can talk about for the rest of your life and learn so much from. So I think that I'm very excited and lucky to be joining Shelter in the time frame that I am right now, because there are so many people who want to learn how to build their own homes and who can build their own homes, and we're here to teach you how to do that. Look out for the vlogs coming soon. Timber Framer Shelter Institute vlogs coming soon.
Hey guys, here at the Shelter Institute, we've been teaching people to design and build their homes since 1974, and we've been building timber frames for about 40 years. We design and build timber frames, we sell fine woodworking tools, we teach house building classes of many different types. If you'd like to learn more about what we do, check us out in person here at our store in Woolwich, Maine, or online at shelterinstitute.com.